Amanda Robinson, the digital gal. I'm doing my little live stream ritual that I do here. It's one of these weird little things that I do in the background. You can hear the crackle. I like to light myself a candle, and I keep that on my desk while I'm live streaming. It's just one of those really funny little things that I do that helps kind of get me in the zone for live streaming. So if you want to learn more about some of the other things you can do to either hype yourself up, get yourself calmed down, get your head in the zone for live streaming, you are going to want to tune in to tomorrow's live show, the video marketing show, happening at 1:00 p.m. on all these lovely channels that you're seeing me in right now. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about everything to do with how you can prep yourself and get over those hurdles that are preventing you from going live. If you're here, if you're watching, make sure you drop in, say hello. Evie is in the house. Hi, Evie. You're always here, and it makes me so happy when you are here. Thank you. And today, so that's tomorrow. This is me giving everybody the heads up. So today, what we're going to be talking about here is we're going to be talking about remarketing. Remarketing, retargeting, re-whatevering, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be focusing in on how are you getting back in front of customers or potential customers, clients, or people who are engaging with your content. How do we get back out in front of them so that we can lure them back or continue to serve good content to them that they want to see in order to help lead them into sales, to help weed out the people that we don't want, who are not eligible to do business with us, who are not the right fit, who are not the right customers or clients, how to weed them out of our marketing, and how to attract in all of the people who are the right fit. And yes, Evie, I can see you. Normally I can't see your name. So it is really exciting that I can see you, because sometimes Ecamm and Facebook don't always play nice together when you're in the house. I don't know, you've got like that energy about you. We've got Michael here. Michael's in the house. Hello, it is great to see you, Michael. I'm so glad you're here. And Michael was in on the Swift Kick in the Ads office hours on Monday. He's also a member. So if you're not a member of Swift Kick in the Ads, definitely consider joining, because you have lots of opportunity to get face-to-face with me, my eyes on your content, and get help troubleshooting anything you need with your own Facebook ads. So if you haven't checked out Swift Kick in the Ads, definitely a good chance too. So at the top of the show here, I'm going to throw a quick intro. This show is sponsored by Restream. So before we actually dig in, tease apart all the details on how we're going to shift your mind into a retargeting focus instead of just continually chasing those cold audience dollars, we are going to start right here. Is taking a look at, let's throw this up here on screen. Let's start here. We're going to start that over 90% of people that are engaging with you, that are looking at your content, who are visiting your website, who are visiting your website properties, they're not purchasing from you yet. Oh, Evie is saying my audio is off. Is it now? Is it still? Let me know, because I can see it registering on my side. It might have just been that other turn mic back on. Let me know. 3, 2, 1. Help a gal out here. There you are. Volume is back. You know what I think it was? It's probably one of the previous scene that I was on. After that, probably had the audio muted. Ooh, good to know. Thank you, Evie. See? Thank you for having my back. I appreciate that a lot. All right. So 90% of people are not purchasing from you on the first time that they visit your site. So keep that in mind when you're positioning yourself and positioning your advertising, and you're slicing and dicing up your advertising budget. So if you are trying to go at Facebook advertising or any of your advertising for any of that matter, because the conversations we're going to have today are going to apply to your other channels that you are working on as well. We're going to do it through the lens of Facebook ads, but just keep in mind that these concepts do apply everywhere else in your marketing. So if you are trying to cast that huge net really, really wide and catch a whole bunch of fish in that net and walk away super profitable, Unfortunately, with our current landscape of advertising, 90% of those fish are jumping right out of your net on the very first visit. They're not sticking. They're not biting the bait. They're not sticking with you. And when I see a lot of first-time advertisers or new advertisers get into the market, one of the things that I'm seeing them do is they're running after a cold audience of people with their offer. So they're basically waving a giant flag or a giant Facebook ad over here going, hey, I need your attention span over here. Come buy this product right here. Hi, I'm the person. Hi. And that's what your ads are trying to do. Well, doing that and getting in front of people who really don't know you, don't know, like, or trust you, all of those typical marketing speaks, that can be quite difficult, and it doesn't generally really result in sales. So therefore, when you're doing your advertising, having a strategy of remarketing and retargeting and getting back in front of people with more relevant content based on their behaviors and their browsing and their actions and activities that they're taking across all of your properties and the places that you're sprinkling your ads, it's going to make a very big difference to the bottom line. So if you're chasing a cold audience of people with an offer, you are likely to have fewer of them actually convert into sales. But if you start building your audience sizes and growing an audience, a warm audience of people who have some concept of who you are, and then fostering those audiences, taking care of them, serving out high quality content to those audiences over and over again, then you have a much higher likelihood of translating that into sales. So let's take a look at what I mean by that. So let's pull that off, and let's pull this one up. Okay, so we're going to use, again, you hear me all the time talking about cold audiences, warm audiences. So warm audiences are going to convert better than cold audiences. So let's talk about what these audiences are, and then at some point I am going to show you some actual like retargeting, remarketing, what that looks like on Facebook ads. This is the area where a lot of business owners get stuck. You know the concept of what remarketing is. Like, you understand, okay, they saw an ad, they went to my site, they didn't buy. Now I need to get back in front of them. But the actual mechanics of how to do that and how to grow those audience sizes and how to get back out in front of them, that's where a lot of businesses are stuck. And that's where when people go through the 4-week Facebook ads bootcamp, they learn how to do their own ads. But then they kind of hit that threshold of like, okay, I know how to make an ad. Great. How do I do that retargeting thing you talked about? So we're going to talk about it here. All right, but first, before we can talk about that, we have to understand who are we retargeting? What counts as a retargeting audience? So typically, a warm audience is who you are retargeting. So warm audiences are people who have some familiarity versus cold audiences, brand new first impression, they've never met you, they don't know you, it's a first timer. So on that first time impression, you need to make a good impression. And then you need to allow your retargeting and remarketing efforts do the heavy lifting at continuing on that conversation to get people, to lead them to purchase, or to be able to continually prove to people, you know what, maybe you aren't the right fit. So maybe this content isn't the right fit for you. And that's going to help part the sea on, you're going to be able to let go of the people who you don't need to continue spending ad dollars on, and you can just dial in and focus on the warm audiences of people who are continuing to engage with your content and who are the right people. All right, so we have the concept of warm audiences and cold audiences. Let me give you some examples. A cold audience is if I go into Facebook and create an audience and drop a pin on a map and try and reach a geographic area. So I drop a pin on a map and want to go 50-mile radius around that. That's generally going to be a cold audience of people who don't know you. Same as if I go into Facebook and I create an audience of people who have an interest in social media, who also have an interest in an interest in social media, an interest in wakeboarding, and must also match an interest in shamrocks because it's St. Paddy's Day. I'm trying to pull on any of these concepts here. On St. Patrick's Day, dedication. Oh yeah. You should have seen the shirt I was wearing earlier. I am on a green screen. If you didn't know that, it's a green screen. And I was wearing a green shirt earlier. And so the green shirt obviously disappeared. So I was like this headless person floating around through all my calls today, which was all well and good until I got onto one call that I should have taken a little more seriously today. And I was a little embarrassed at being this headless floating person, making that first impression. So I was making that first impression to a cold audience member, one-on-one. Was not a great first impression. I don't recommend. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. But anywho, all right, so those are examples of cold audiences. Then we got to talk about examples of warm audiences. And there's kind of different levels, kind of like we have the temperature gauge here. there's different levels of warm. There are, there's warm as in, okay, we can go outside without a winter coat on. That's kind of warm. Then there's warm of like, oh, it's t-shirt weather. Evie. Thank you. You can find, if you're, I should make that video public so people can see it. It's on my personal profile. Yes, there's the, ooh, it's t-shirt weather. Now we can go outside and like get some sunshine. Yay. And then there is, oh dear goodness, sweltering hot, need to jump in a pool kind of weather or jump in the lake kind of weather to cool off. All right, so if we were to map that into your audiences, if it's like, oh, it's no longer winter, I can take my winter jacket off kind of warm. That's like a lukewarm audience. That's just the beginning. So we're going to consider that audiences such as anyone who's watched your videos for 3 seconds or more on your Facebook page or Instagram profile, or people who have clicked a like, a comment, a share, a reaction, or clicked on photos on your posts. All of those are considered engagements, and all of those engagements count as actions toward creating a warm audience. So all of those actions we just talked about, watching videos, reacting, clicking, commenting, engaging, so video views and engagements, those count as a warm audience. Those are actions and activities that we can now put into an audience of people that we can retarget with our ads. But again, it's very lukewarm retargeting. Very lukewarm. I mean, we just took the winter coat off. It's not quite spring. The flowers haven't come up yet. That's that level. Well, let's take it a step further. Okay, so now it's like t-shirt weather. And now we can take that, we can go outside and get some sunshine on our skin because we've been dealing with winter for too long. And those audiences, think of them like your website visitors. So people who have gone to your website, checked you out, and been like, I'll think about it. And they walk away. Because remember, when we were looking at this, let's take this one off, throw that one back up. So they've window shopped you. They've been like, yeah, check out your site. Not quite what they're ready to do right now, but it's okay. They'll keep an eye on you. So that's kind of t-shirt weather warm, right? They have a much higher level of familiarity with you because they've gone to the website. They've had their first impression with you, which is the video view or the engagement. Now they've had a higher level of engagement with you by going to your website. And because you have your Facebook tracking pixel installed on your website, you do, right? No, I mean it. You do. If you don't, go do it right now. Please. I've got a YouTube video for you, tutorial, walk you through all the way start to finish on how to do it. Just go put that pixel on your website. Otherwise, this entire retargeting conversation is a moot point. Might as well not even do it. Nope. It's okay. I'm just bugging you. If you don't have it installed on your site right now, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. After all, iOS 14 is rolling in with Apple taking away a lot of our retargeting capability anyway. That's a whole separate conversation. But for the purpose of this conversation, yes, you need your pixel on your site so that we can track when someone has gone to your site, what actions they're taking. Did they purchase? Did they not? Are they a first-time visitor? Did they bounce off the site? What did they do? So how can we then serve them better? How can we retarget them? And again, this is still at t-shirt weather, right? So somebody visiting your website is probably a good example of someone who has a deeper level of familiarity with your brand. That was really hard to say back to back. Deeper level of familiarity with your brand, but isn't ready to become a customer yet. So it's not a hot audience. It's just a warm audience. And then we get into, let's talk about, let me pull this down and let me pull this back up. So then we get into hot audiences, and some examples of really hot audiences might be somebody who has been to your website. They've also watched a free webinar of yours. Perhaps they purchased a little $10 freebie down, or not freebie. Perhaps they purchased a little $10 download from your site, so they have shown that they're willing to open their wallet, trust you, and put their credit card down for some level of purchase. I would say that would be an incredibly hot audience. I would consider Evie, and if it didn't go over well, not your tribe. Exactly. So Evie, she is an example of an absolute hot audience member. Why? Because she shows up on these live streams and she comments. She's always here. She's always supporting. She's always showing up, and she's putting the time in. Plus, I know she goes to my website. You do, right? I know that you consume the content, but I know that you also proactively engage with the content. And so you keep getting that content over and over. You're someone, we know each other by name. So therefore, you have a much, much hotter level of familiarity with the brand. You are definitely way beyond t-shirt weather. You, Evie, my darling, you are absolute hot stuff. So you are on fire. You're at the point where it's beyond t-shirt weather. Yeah, Evie, you are. You're beyond t-shirt weather. You are like, oh dear goodness, I need to cool off. I need to jump in a lake. So you are someone, you're an example of ultimately what we want to get to and what we want to focus on. So I will put much more work into spending ad dollars on someone like you, Evie, than I will spend on someone at the t-shirt level where, it's just starting to become spring. I'm still not looking for a polar dip right now. So you are, you don't go to your website, you call me with bubbles. It's true. That's true. Okay, so you're a different whole other echelon of hot audience member. But for the rest of the actual hot audience members who are in a position where they are ready to buy, then I need to speak to you differently. I need to serve you different content. I need to ask you for the sale, and I need to treat you differently. And when we put that into context here, let's, for example, say that we spent all of our ad dollars and we were just focusing on the cold audience down here. Just these people, that's it. We're spending all of our ad dollars just on that group of people. The chances of getting from 0 to 100 in temperature and getting from don't even know me to all the way to 100 degrees and going to make that sale, unless you're selling something very low cost and no brainer. I mean, if you're selling a funny t-shirt, maybe you read the t-shirt, you either love it, you hate it, you either buy it, you don't buy it. That's an example where you may not need as many steps or as many layers of targeting and retargeting and remarketing. But for most of us, trying to go after a cold audience of people who don't know us to try to make that sale, it's really hard. And it's going to cost us a lot more money in the long run. Versus if we start dedicating our budget into those two different buckets where we're going to go after our cold audience, we're going to first make that first impression, serve them some content that is beneficial for them. Then we have the potential of retargeting them with our ads and getting even more of those warm audience members to convert into sales. So please feel free to critique my little icons and everything here. So we got the little temperature gauge, we got the little snowflake, and then we've got our little budget distribution, and then we have the representation of multiple sales or multiple ads to cart in this case. So in this analogy or this example, when you're targeting a cold audience of people who don't know you, yes, some of them may convert into a sale, which would be lovely. It's great when it happens because occasionally you just hit the right nerve. You get the right person at the right time at the right place with the right ad, and it's a match made in heaven, and you're off to the races. That's great. But it doesn't always happen that way. And we know that over 90%, by the way, when I was pulling stats for this, when I'm looking at, okay, what is the actual current percentage of people who don't buy on the first visit? There's stats all over the web like crazy. Some of them are 98%, 97%, 93%. They're all over the place, but they're all in the 90s. And it is pretty realistic based on the ad results that I see come through with multiple clients. That first time impression, it's not doing much for you. Sometimes it will. That's cool if it does. The magic is in the remarketing and the retargeting. So if we don't know how to do that, we're leaving a lot of money on the table. It's costing us a lot of money to try and convert those cold audience members. Now, speaking of audience, let's talk about if we were only targeting our warm audience of people. Because in that other example, it's like, well, Amanda, why would I spend any money on reaching this cold audience if I can just make more sales targeting my warm audience? Haha. If you're not constantly feeding that cold audience of people, you're going to exhaust your warm audience. They're going to tire out. If I just keep hitting Evie with ads over and over and over again, and she's among a small number of people that I've reached that have become that level of a warm audience for me, if I keep trying to hit her over the head over and over and over again with the same ad, she's going to get exhausted, she's going to get bored, and then she's going to stop paying attention. And then she goes from being a really hot audience member to now we're climbing down to being lukewarm, and it's nowhere near as effective anymore. So when you have your hot audience members, you want to take care of them. You want to treat them well. You don't want to oversaturate them with ads. So you don't want to go too heavy on the retargeting. And if your audience size is way too small and you're hitting them with too much budget, you're going to exhaust them. You're going to lose them. So you don't want to lose your warm audience. You want to take good care of them. So part of this is that balance of, okay, well, we do actually need to spend some dollars on your cold audience. We need to continue adding more people into your audiences. We need to grow those audience sizes because that cold audience feeds the warm audience. That warm audience feeds your sales. This is the whole inner workings of the engine of retargeting. So what is Michael saying here? He's saying, is there a minimum threshold of engagements required to be able to retarget? Exactly what we're talking about here. Fantastic. So I have one more graphic in here. What's the other one that I put in here? Audience size matters before you start retargeting. So there's no one winning answer on the minimum threshold of engagement that you need. There's no minimum, but this is where learning how to read your data. Chad's in the house. Chad's here. Yes, you preach. That makes me so happy. Thank you. There is no minimum that you need, but you need to understand how to read your own reporting for your own Facebook ads so that you can understand if you are exhausting your audiences. How do you know? You know you're exhausting your audiences when you're serving the same ad to people over and over and over again, and we measure that with a metric called frequency. So if you have a frequency of 1, come over here. If you have a frequency, there we go. If you have a frequency of 1, that means you are reaching one person with one ad impression. If I have a frequency of 5, then I'm reaching one person 5 different times with that one ad. So that one ad could be showing up in multiple different placements. It could be showing, and I know I go over this all the time. So if you listen to me all the time, I'm a broken record, but this stuff matters. So if you have a frequency of 5, that means you're reaching one person 5 times. It could have been once in the news feed. It could have been once in the right column placement. Then it could have been over on Instagram in the feed, perhaps in Instagram stories, and then maybe over in an instant article. That's one person 5 times, different placements, but they're seeing the ad over and over. So they're getting more impressions. So when we divide your impressions based on your reach, so the number of times that ad was served divided by the number of eyeballs, the number of people that could see it, that's where we get your frequency. So if your frequency is starting to climb high, and what's high? Well, depends on what area of the temperature gauge they're at. If they are low on the scale, so we're still in that like chilly, the cold, they're not very warmed up yet, then a frequency of over 3 or 4 is really starting to get a little too high. If they are a hot audience member, you can kind of hit them a few more times. You can go up, you can go upwards. You can maybe hit them 4 or 5 times before I'd start getting really concerned. But if you're hitting people 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 times and they're your hot audience, that's a huge indication that your audience size is way too small for the budget that you're trying to retarget them with. Bad idea. Don't oversaturate that audience. Don't tire them out. So let's go into Facebook and let's take a look at some of these audience sizes that I'm talking about here. So I'm going to pull this down. And if you are watching live, give a quick shout out because I love seeing everybody that is here. It really brightens my day to know that you're here. So let's go into a screen share. I'm going to put myself down here. So this is an example of where we are finding our audiences. Audiences are crucial to your retargeting. So when you're serving an ad, you serve an ad to somebody, they might take an action, such as watching a video, such as clicking, such as going to your website. All of those are actions. Those actions allow us to build audiences off of those actions. So there are, actually, let me pull this up and just quickly talk on Facebook activity versus off of Facebook activity. And then I'm going to show you those some audience examples and how this works. So on Facebook activity, there's things that we can track on Facebook. Those are the video views. Those are any of those reactions, comments, shares. Those are all actions that take place inside the environment of Facebook without the person having to leave the app or leave the desktop app. They're not leaving the Facebook environment. It's all self-contained inside that little box. Facebook owns that data directly. And if you have your Facebook page, you have access to that data. This is that crucial point as to why you need to be doing business on your Facebook business page not your personal profile. Can I just give you a giant digital hug right now? If you're trying to do business on your personal profile because you have more friends there, because you get more interactions there, because you feel like you do more business there, stop. Got to stop doing that. We have to get you weaned off of that and over onto your business page, because your business page, all of those actions and activities that take place allow us to build audiences off of those people. If you are doing that on your personal profile, we can't see those people. We don't have visibility to retarget based on those actions. So personal profile, bad. Don't do that as a business owner. Besides, it's actually against Facebook's terms of service to be doing business on your personal profile. That's why you rarely see me promoting stuff on my personal profile. You don't see a lot of business stuff. You see me doing some fun stuff and having some fun with it, but personal profile is more you as an individual. Business page is where you need to be doing all of the business actions to get the business interactions, so we can build audiences based on those people. Those audiences are going to become high quality for you over time. We're going to have those different levels of, are they lukewarm? Are they super hot? And that's how we're going to build these audiences. I'm just going to check the comments. Chad, yes. Also, stop immediately sharing your business post to your personal. Let it breathe. Give people a reason to engage with your business page. Can I just, I'm going to pull that up one more time. This right here, what Chad is saying, yes, as soon as you post it to your business page and then you go and share it to your personal profile, you're training the algorithm and training your audiences that they don't need to put the effort in to go see you on your page. You're training the algorithm that we don't need to show any of the content from your page because people have already seen it on your profile. Yes, those views do count because if you shared it from your business page to your profile, those views and everything still count toward the business. But it's not doing you any favor on actually growing your audiences the correct way. You're just stacking the deck against yourself and making it harder in the long run when you do finally kind of have a business glow up and need to start doing more activity on your business page. And Chaz in the house, watching from the Philippines, what's the best optimization objective for retargeting? Fantastic question. And that's going to play really nicely into, you can use retargeting on any objective. So let's hop over and take a look. All right. So you know what? I'm going to crack open. Let's go into Ads Manager so I can show you what those objectives look like. And then we'll go back into audiences. So here, if I click on, let me just filter by selection here so it cuts out a little bit of the clutter of the overwhelm of Business Manager. And yes, I'm live streaming while simultaneously trying to screen share. And Facebook doesn't always like that. All right, so that just cleans up the screen just a little bit. All right, so when you go to create an ad, you have choices, you have objectives you can choose from. So if I hit that lovely green create button, these are my objectives that I have to choose from. So brand awareness and reach, I kind of don't recommend playing over in that territory. Why? This plays in perfectly with this conversation. Because any of these, brand awareness and reach, if I'm asking Facebook to optimize my ads to just get more reach, go reach more people. That's your only job, Facebook. That's all I'm asking you to do. Well, guess what? That's literally all Facebook is going to do. It's just slap that ad around like a giant billboard on a highway. Nobody's being asked to click. It's not being optimized to get people to watch a video. It's just there, just like highway traffic going by. So it's not generating actions and activities that then grow our audiences of people we can retarget. However, this column over here, these objectives might cost or appear to cost a little bit more than the awareness. So in consideration, traffic, for example, is sending traffic off of Facebook. So outside of that Facebook bubble, outside of Facebook's environment, and we need our Facebook pixel. If we're going to send anybody off of Facebook, Facebook does not own that data. We have to have the Facebook pixel installed on your page to give Facebook visibility to that data, to then allow us to grow our audiences and continue to follow people's actions and continue to retarget them based on those off of Facebook activity actions. So if it's on Facebook, you can still retarget. You don't need to have the pixel if that action that you're trying to retarget for is on Facebook. If it's off of Facebook, you need your Facebook pixel. So heads up on that. So in this column, for example, traffic is sending traffic off of Facebook to your website or to WhatsApp or to an app. Engagement, you don't need a pixel for this one. Engagement happens inside the Facebook environment, on Facebook. So you can retarget people based on them liking, clicking, commenting, sharing, clicking, looking at your pictures, clicking the see more drop down. All of those are considered engagements. App installs, if they're installing an app, this is a lot more expensive. But again, you can retarget people based on those behaviors. And this is what I'm showing you right here. This is not retargeting. But by choosing these objectives and creating my ads based on these objectives, I am then asking Facebook to go and serve my ads to people who are most likely to take this action, such as video views, for example. If I'm saying to Facebook, I want people to watch my videos. I want more video views. Why? Because video views are building me that lukewarm audience of people who have some familiarity with me. So we're at the take the winter jacket off stage, and not quite at t-shirt weather, but just take the winter jacket off, lukewarm video views. On Facebook activity, not off Facebook. So it's cheaper to keep people on Facebook, inside Facebook land, than to send them off to a different amusement park somewhere else. So that's why video views is a nice, cheap and cheerful audience to start growing, so I can serve ads to people who I want to view my videos. This is not a choice of retargeting. This is just optimizing what's the end goal of that ad. And what's our end goal? Well, depends on what you're trying to achieve with that ad. So where does the retargeting come in? At the next stage. So let's click continue. Let me just make this a test, because I always forget to delete my tests after, and sometimes they actually run. And that's always pretty fun, especially when my tests get rejected. Then they count against my account quality. So let's go test. All right, so what I just did there, let me move my face over here. What I just did there was I created a campaign. I chose an objective of video views, and now I can finish setting up the rest of my campaign. Where the retargeting comes in is at the ad set level. So on the left-hand side here, we have our campaign on the top here with the little folder. Then we have our ad set with these little 4 dots. That's our ad set, where we get to choose our schedule and our audiences and our placements. And then down here we have the actual ad itself. So these are the 3 different stages we get to click through and choose some options in. So we already chose our objective. We're good here. Let's go into the ad set level. This is where the retargeting takes place. So let's see, when we get down here, I can choose an audience of people who have, let's go video views. Now I've already created these audiences. They're already created, they already exist, I already did that work. And this is what you learn in the Facebook Ads 4-week boot camp, which is part of the Swift Kick in the Ads program. You learn how to do this in week 2, how to create these audiences. So down here I can say, all right, let's go target people who have watched 10 seconds or more of any of my videos on my Facebook page. That audience size for me personally is 12,000 people. So I can choose that. And now, because I chose an audience of people who already know me, they already have some familiarity with me, they've already seen my videos and watched some of them, they've watched 10 seconds of them or more, those people, I am now retargeting them with whatever ad I'm about to create. That's considered retargeting. Or if I wanted to go to a warmer level, all right, so maybe it's not just video views that I want to get this in front of, people who've watched my videos. Maybe I want a warmer level of people. Let's go with, let's go website. So I can now retarget anyone who has been to my website. So I'm asking for a much warmer level of an audience. So I'm trying to get whatever ad I'm building right now, I want to get that in front of a warmer audience of people who have a much higher level of familiarity. So what are the chances, what's the likelihood of me making more sales off of my video viewers versus more sales off of my website visitors? And I just want to give a giant shout out. We've got Gustavo in the house. It's great to see you. And he's tuning in from Mexico. We have a great international audience here. And will this class be recorded? Yes, it's live right now, but it's immediately available for replay as soon as I wrap up the broadcast. So you're good. Okay, so back on, and then Michael is saying, having admin rights for 5 different bands, I can aggregate website visits from 5 different ads with the pixel, correct? Yes, you can do that in a couple ways. If you, here, I'm getting a little little choppy there. Yeah, you can, in your case, Michael, you can have one pixel that you can put on each of those websites. Although with Facebook's new iOS 14 changes and website domain verifications, it can get a little complicated. The alternate solution to that is having a unique pixel for each website that your pixel is being placed on. And then you can share audiences among different accounts. So that might be another solution for you. But yes, you can aggregate all of that traffic and retarget them with ads, with one ad in one place. You can do that. So let's so back to that conversation on how, let me pull up that example here. Is it this one? Let's go to this one. So of the audience that I chose, the audiences I was choosing, they're not a cold audience. The people I'm retargeting with the ad that I'm building are people who have some familiarity with me. Now, if I was going after people who are video viewers that have watched 10 seconds or more of any of my videos, by the way, you folks tuning in right now, you're on that audience, and I use that audience a lot for ads. So if you're seeing my ads, that's why, because you're watching this video, and I use that audience to retarget you with video promotions for all the upcoming videos. Oh, by the way, this is probably a good time for me to tell you about contest, because I'm constantly giving stuff away. This is your last chance, by the way, to enter in. I'm gonna pull this beautiful thing down. This is your last chance to enter for this lovely Kate Spade bag. The week before last, I gave away a second Facebook portal. So congratulations to the portal winners. And at the end of this week, I am choosing a winner for a brand spanking new version of this. This is an open package one, but I have a brand new one in package, fully ready to rock and roll for you. It's a lovely Kate Spade purse. Oh my goodness. It's Digital Gal pink. It's so lovely. Oh, but yes, so I give away prizes. That's one of them. If you want in on that, if you want to enter for that, then you are going to want to head right on over to, let's go here. Then you're going to want to head over to the digitalgal.com/contest. Yes, I still have the portal promo in there from the last one. I got to slip the purse in there. The digitalgal.com/contest, what that's going to do for you, it's going to sign you up to my email list, which, by the way, Daryl's in the house. Daryl is one of the portal winners. So he can attest that, yes, if you engage with this, if you interact, if you sign up through the digitalgal.com/contest, you could be like, Daryl, he won a portal, and his is hitting the mail shortly here. And thank you very much, Doug. I'm back in my great room. I toggle it back and forth. Oh, yes, I'm not muted. Let's go back here in case there's any mute problems. So I toggle back and forth for this show. This is the What in the Ads is Going On. This is the Digital Gals show. I get to really this is my place to geek out and have fun with you guys. This show happens every Wednesday, and this is where I get to have fun. So I'm in my virtual office, and then every Thursday, I am a guest host for Restream on their video marketing show that happens every Thursday, and I have a different background for that, which is my real background. By the way, guys, going from using virtual backgrounds for years to then all of a sudden switching to a physical background is like ripping a giant Band-Aid of like self-confidence off. Trying to go going from virtual where everything's very bright right now, and I can do a lot of fun things. Like let's see if this will. The closest thing I have in reach that is green happens to be poop bags, dog poop bags. So this is a roll of them. I can do fun things like this with green screen. I was wearing a green shirt earlier and having fun with that. So this show I get to have a lot of fun with. The other show is a lot of fun too, but you're going to learn a lot more video tactics in the other show. You're going to learn a lot more ads tactics in this show. And if you want to know when those shows are going live, what the topics are, what you're going to learn, that's why you're going to head over to the digitalgal.com/contest. Sign up for the email list. And every week you get a lovely email from me with some anecdotal life versus marketing thoughts. And then, of course, when those shows are actually happening. All right, so back to our regular programming. Did you change your hair color? Something is different. I think I'm just wearing like not a bright pink shirt for once. I'm trying to balance the colors a little bit better. But thank you. All right, so let's jump back on the screen share over here. Hopefully I'm not too choppy. Haha, yeah. Sometimes I turn into a little disco ball in here depending on how the CPU, how the computer processing is going. By the way, I have a new computer in my sights in the near future. So we have, in this case, I'm looking at, the retargeting is all about who I am choosing to serve this ad to. Am I choosing to serve it to an audience that already knows me? And of that level of audience I'm serving it to, how hot is that audience? Website visitors, I'd say, is pretty hot. I could also go in here and I could say, let's go MailChimp, the Digital Gal MailChimp email list. So I can target my email, anyone who signed up for my email. And that's a much higher level. People who visit my website, cool. They might have, breezed in there, checked it out, and then wandered off. Well, if they're on my email list, they signed up for a reason. You're here for a reason. So that's a much hotter audience for me. And it's a much smaller audience. So speaking of that, let's go take a look at audience sizes. You go into audiences. I hit command click and it cracks it open to a new tab. On a PC, that would be control click. So I can I can toggle back and forth to my different tabs. So I am opening my audiences. And Daryl is asking, what program are you using for your auto subtitles? Actually, Facebook does the auto subtitling all by themselves. It's a built-in Facebook feature. All right. So looking at audiences here, let's go. The Digital Gal. I'm just searching because I have a lot of audiences. I'm just trying to search down here. So let's talk audience sizes, remarketing, and retargeting. So from an audience size perspective, let's see if I can zoom in here for you. Make it a little bit bigger, a little bit prettier. So these are 1, 2, 3 different audiences. The middle one here is anyone who's watched 3 seconds or more of my videos. The bottom one here is anyone who has watched 10 seconds or more of my selected videos. And then this top one here is people who have watched 75% of those videos. Now, I can see I last updated that one in December. So that audience, I need to update and keep it a little more fresh. I always put the date of when I updated my audiences on here. I manually type in the date, or you can put it in the description. Because the video view audiences don't auto update. You have to go in and continually choose the new videos that you want to add in. And you can use these audiences in many different ways. Right now, we're kind of going over the basics. You can get very, very creative with your retargeting. For example, you can have, if you had, let's pretend you had a webinar you needed people to sign up for. Well, and again, we're talking about, 90% of people aren't buying on the first visit. Well, they're also not taking the desired action on the first visit. So say I had a webinar I want people to attend, and say I serve them a video as the first ad, that very first touch point, just to, hey, get familiar, I'm over here. I serve them a video ad, and they go ahead and they watch 3 seconds of it as it's cruising through their newsfeed. They pause just long enough to see, oh, some gal in pink with a giant high heel shoe. Cool. Moving on. They keep scrolling. But they caught 3 seconds of it. It wasn't a full scroll. It played for 3 seconds inside their newsfeed or in whatever placement they watched it. So therefore, I've now grown an audience of people who have watched 3 seconds or more. Well, that's a first impression. Well, and ultimately, say I'm pretending to try to get these people to sign up for a webinar. Well, of that first impression, now maybe I want to retarget of all the people that saw those ads. Maybe I don't really want to spend more money on the people who only watched 3 seconds and cruised on by. Maybe I want to spend my money on the people who stayed for 10 seconds or more. But you can see generally at every single interchange or the next level, your audience sizes typically drop in half. So for going from 23,000 at 3 seconds views down to 12,000 in 10-second views. And then if we wanted to go from 10-second views to 15-second views, which is another option we could go, I bet you my audience size would drop down to 6,000, drop in half again from the 10-second mark to the 15-second mark. That audience size is going to get chopped in half again. So you can see how audience size matters, because we start pretty wide, but the wider we go, the cooler that audience is. The higher we go, the more warmed up they are, and the more worthwhile they are me spending additional ad dollars on. But you can't go from zero to let's spend all of our ad dollars. If I tried to spend $500 on 3,300 people, I'm going to exhaust that audience very quickly. For me, for what it costs me to do my ads. Your ads might be different, but you need an audience size to work with. So if you don't have the audience sizes to start retargeting them with, take a step back and just focus on growing your cold audiences of people. Reach new people, get them to engage with you. And engagement is a like, a click, a comment, a share, or get them to watch your videos, because these are low-cost audiences to retarget. Then, if I want to get really creative, let's say I want to create a custom audience of website visitors. Next. I can say, okay, with the Digital Gals Pixel, I don't necessarily want to go after all website visitors. Maybe I just want to go after people who visited a specific web page. And maybe not in the last 30 days, maybe only in the last 7 days. And I can do it based on an actual URL. If I want to go URL equals, I can just copy and paste my actual website URL of the page I want to retarget them from. So if they visited a sales page, for example. So say we're trying to get them to sign up for this webinar. We served them an ad, just an introductory ad. Some people watched it, some people didn't. Of the people who watched 10 seconds or more, I go and I create another ad, and I retarget those video viewers with another ad. Perhaps that other ad is asking them to click through to my website. So a bunch of those people are going to click through to the website. Some of those people are actually going to make it to the sales page. Some of those people aren't. Some of those people are going to take actions on that page I want them to. Some of them aren't. So I can create additional audiences of people who, say in the last 7 days, went to one of my pages that contained, say I had success webinar registered. I'll just take out the, so if my URL, say my URL when someone signed up for the webinar, say that thank you page that they get to has success webinar registered in that URL, hypothetically. Well, now I can create an audience of people who have visited that specific page in the last 7 days. And now I can use this audience to exclude them from my ads once I'm trying to retarget my website visitors. So maybe I'm trying to retarget my website visitors at this next stage to say, hey, you came to the website, but you did not sign up for the webinar. So here's a better ad, or here's a sweeter deal for you, or here are the reasons that you need to sign up, or here's the testimonial from other people just like you who actually went ahead and signed up. So you can sweeten the pot, but I'm not going to take those testimonial ads or those additional incentive ads and just sprinkle them across the web to cold audiences of people. It doesn't make the most sense for me. So instead, let me pull up those examples again. Let's pull up. That example. So I'm not going to spend all my dollars on the cold audience of people trying to get them to sign up for the webinar on the first impression, and then being really sad when at the end of my campaign I spent $500. I thought I would have had thousands of signups for my webinar, and at the end of the day 50 people signed up and only 10 people actually showed up on the day of. That's not the best use of your marketing dollars. It's not the best use of your targeting strategy, and it's not going to bring you in high returns in the end. So instead, I'm going to put the effort into growing my audiences, because audience sizes and retargeting go hand in hand. If you're trying to retarget and you don't have the audience sizes to work with, you're missing a piece of that step, and your ads are going to be incredibly expensive, and you're going to lose your audience's attention that you've already worked for. So ultimately, the cold audience probably isn't going to convert. Some of them might. That's why I have that one little cart right there, because some of them do. I mean, you can't be way off, outfield, way off base with your targeting. Some of those people are going to want what you're serving them on the first go. Most people, though, are going to need that second, third, fourth touch point. So you need to budget appropriately for it. And not only do you need to budget appropriately for it, but you need to budget appropriately for growing your audiences on those earlier stages of your funnel, of reaching the right people, getting them interested, getting them familiar with you and your brand. That's why a lot of you are probably seeing my face over and over with different video ads that I'm doing for the video marketing show. You've watched certain portions of one of my videos, you've watched 10 seconds or more, so that's why I keep showing up in your feed everywhere. And if I'm not showing up in your feed everywhere, I probably will soon. But the key here is that you have to keep those audiences alive and well. Those audiences don't last forever. Somebody goes to your website, doesn't mean you can retarget them forever. Somebody goes to your website, you have 6 months. 6 months. And then after that, if they haven't gone back to your website, they fall off the back end of that audience and they're no longer targetable by you. If they come back to your website at the 179th day, then it resets the clock on them. Then you have another 180 days that you can retarget them with ads from that day forward. That's website visitors. If you are targeting video viewers or anyone who engaged with your page, you have a full 365 days that they stay on that audience. So you have a whole year that you can keep retargeting those folks. But again, if you have a huge event, you say you dumped in $20,000 in advertising around this massive annual event that you have, and you got a whole bunch of noise going on, and then you stop doing any business activity on your business page and you just kind of went dormant for a while, and then fast forward to the following year and say that your event was pushed back by a month. Well, now you want to turn on all your advertising, you want to retarget people. It's more than 365 days and you didn't keep them engaged. So they fell off of that audience. They're no longer targetable. You're restarting your advertising from scratch with no value in all the ad dollars you previously spent in previous years. So the dollars that you're spending have value to them, even if they didn't get you the intended results the first time around. The first time around, people aren't likely to buy. They're also not likely to take the action you're asking them to on the first round. It takes retargeting and getting back out in front of them to get that action to take place. So Facebook ads ultimately are not the short-term game, especially if you're working in smaller budgets. And what I mean by smaller budgets, if you're spending under $500 a month, that would be what I would consider a smaller budget. Facebook ads are not going to be the quick success story for you. Facebook ads are going to be the long-term game of growing those audiences with high-quality people, allowing the retargeting to eliminate people who are not interested in you and your business or service, and to, over time, increase the temperature of how hot that audience is, and then focus all of your ad dollars when it comes to the point where, yes, you do need to make sales. You have a group of people who are ready. They're just ready to be asked. That's all you need to do. And when you put the ask out in front of them, you've done all the lead up work, you've done all the hard work, and they are ready for you, and you can execute on sales. So that's where Facebook ads, managing those expectations. If you are tackling this without retargeting, it's very difficult. But retargeting isn't just one thing. Retargeting is basically getting back in front of multiple different audiences. Those audiences have different temperature levels to them of warm versus hot. So no two businesses are identical. So your audiences are your audiences. The quality of them is yours. You need to focus on your quality and what you can do within those audiences and incrementally increase the power of your retargeting within those audiences. And don't be paying attention to what everybody else is doing. Just focus on you and your numbers and your results. Whew. So I feel like I've just blabbed a whole lot here. Ultimately, let me just go here. Yes, this is what you need to know. This is what you need to know. So this show is sponsored by Restream. Restream is what I'm using right now to be able to broadcast this to multiple places. So you might be seeing this inside one of my membership groups. The membership group. I have one membership group. I have one bootcamp group. They're kind of all wrapped into one. But anyhow, you're seeing it in one of those groups, or you're seeing this on YouTube, or you're seeing this on Facebook, or you're seeing this in a social media managers group. That's because of Restream. So I'm using, even though I'm broadcasting right now with Ecamm, on this show I'm using Ecamm. Tomorrow's show I actually broadcast using the Restream studio, which has some extreme bells and whistles and really cool things that I can do that are complete user-friendly. You don't need to have a PhD in graphic design to make it happen. So if you are a first-time live streamer, or you want to get into live streaming, or you want to start doing this for your own self, for your business, tomorrow's show I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be helping you overcome some of those barriers and fears, some of the 5 most common top fears that are preventing people from actually clicking that button to go live, and what you can do about it. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I usually light a candle and have a candle rocking on my desk while I'm live. It's just like a little weird comfort for me. Just those little quirks. Some people have a different ritual. Some people have that. Anyway, I'm broadcasting that tomorrow in the Restream studio. If you want Restream for yourself so you can make some beautiful, easy live streams that look completely professional, you're going to want to head over to thedigitalgal.com/Restream, sign up for an account, take it for a test drive, check it out. And then if you want to know when these shows are going live, then you absolutely, yes, that's a real word, by the way, then you need to head on over to thedigitalgal.com/contest, and you can sign up, get the email newsletter that tells you when I'm going live, what the show topics are, and the calendar link, so you can add it to your calendar and get notified when we're going live again, so you don't miss it. So with that, everybody, and by the way, yeah, that signs you up for the contest as well, where I'm giving away some cool stuff. With that, thank you. I really appreciate you very much thanks. I'm glad you're not annoyed. You're my hot audience that is not annoyed by me getting back out in front of you with video after video. So thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I am Amanda Robinson. I am the Digital Gal. If you are not already a member of the Swift Kick in the Ads, I highly recommend that you go check it out. It's a membership, $49 a month. You can get in on our live office hours on Zoom, where we're not necessarily one-on-one. There's other people in the group that pop into those, but you can get actual help on your Facebook ads. You can get additional trainings and lots of other perks that are happening over there inside the group, including the 4-week Facebook ads bootcamp. So if learning how to do your audiences so that you can retarget is important to you, you are going to want to sign up for Swift Kick in the Ads, because we are rebooting the Facebook Ads 4-week bootcamp, which is a live training bootcamp across 4 weeks. That's rebooting come May. So get in there, get signed up. The February replays are already in there ready to rock and roll for you if you want to learn today. So go forth, go to swiftkickintheads.com, go check it out, or just come hang out with me everywhere around the web at The Digital Gal. Live shows happening weekly. Hope you can tune into tomorrow's show, where I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about getting over that initial barrier to clicking that go live button. Thanks everybody, and have a fantastic night.